in the interest of doing something slightly different, we're going to be installing a Darkrock Pro 4 today on the truncator. So the truncator's been using an AIO for quite some time now, and I've noticed that as time has gone on, we've gone from pretty comfortable temperatures in like the low 30 Celsius all the way up to 50 while idle, and then upwards of 70 degrees Celsius while playing games. And sometimes I'll just be looking at the menu of a game and it'll go that high pretty often. So I was gonna get the Noctua cooler of basically the same thing as this, but it hasn't been in stock for a couple of weeks now, and I thought about getting another AIO, but honestly I think I'm kind of done with the whole AIO business, and I'm ready to get back to some air cooling. So that's why we landed on this. Oh, and they don't install the fan for you. That's interesting. So yeah, this is just gonna be a pretty basic video, and I don't know if you guys will really care to see this or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. This is actually kind of fancy. So we got our 140 millimeter fan. Let's go ahead and just unbox everything that we might need for this. Move this to the side. By the way, that's a very nice looking cooler. I mean, can't really go wrong with black. Black looks great on everything. And yes, I'll be part of the anti-RGB gang. AMD, we don't need that, so we will stick that back in the box for later. And our Intel mounts, which is perfect. They included some thermal goop, which is awesome, and they have a splitter for us as well. We probably won't use the splitter since I have about 1 billion of those from Noctua. But we'll see. And I have no idea what this bracket is. This looks like, yeah, I don't know what this is. Probably don't need it. Because I haven't talked about the truncator in what feels like a long time. So this is a 5960X with a Titan X Big P Pascal in here. And 16 gigabytes of RAM. This thing is really old. I'm at like 6 years. And then sometime in the middle of next year, I'll be at 7. So it's about time for a replacement, but I think we're going to hang on to it a little bit longer and see what Rocket Lake has to offer, and also what AMD comes up with next year as well. And that will probably be what we'll upgrade to, maybe, anyway. So yeah, pretty neat system, old reliable. So I'm actually going to start by removing the graphics card. I don't have to remove it, but I'm going to. It just will make me feel a little bit better, especially when removing the water block, which I haven't removed in a long time. Oh wow, probably help if I actually disconnected this. You know, kind of a shame actually to be removing this water block. It's been really nice over the years, despite some of the reviews it's gotten, and I will actually be kind of sad to see it go. I think this system looks great with the water block, and with the Darkrock Pro being added in here, it's going to take up all of the space. That's basically all you're going to see. This RAM is going to be totally hidden, assuming it even fits, which is going to be kind of funny. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean the cooler off real quick before I take it out completely, so that way I don't get the desk any dirtier than it already is. Ah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, how's that look? And now we will clean the CPU, which doesn't have a lot of thermal goop on it anyway. All right, let's go and get all of these Noctua fans removed. So what's really neat about these fans is they actually have a header really close to the fan. So when you remove them, it just makes it easy. I don't have to undo these cables. They're all cable managed back there. And at first I wasn't really sure if this was a good idea or a bad idea, but now that in practice, I think it was a really good idea on Noctua's part to do that. And I'm not gonna be able to remove this bottom fan, so I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the radiator now. All right, I should just come right on out now. Oh, still have a fan plugged in. Probably help if I unplug that. So I don't know if this is gonna work, but I have these standoffs here that I'm gonna try and just put on the socket for this CPU. I think it will be low enough where the heatsink will make contact with the CPU. So we're just going to kind of do a dry test fit first, and hopefully that works out. I should really read the instructions first, but you guys, I think you guys know me pretty well. Now I definitely am not an instruction reader. So that will probably go something like that. So we don't need the included back plate, which, you know, they gave us just in case. And at the last second, when I was looking at the Dark Rock Pro and looking at this, I actually discovered that this is what's going to be holding the heatsink down to the CPU. So it'll go in something like this, and then just, I don't know, I guess it'll just be held down by 2 screws. So that's what it does. Good thing I was paying attention for once. All right, so I'm not 100% sure the orientation these are supposed to go. I don't think it matters. It probably doesn't, but I think I'm gonna go with them facing this direction, so most inward. Oof, that's probably not a good idea because that means the distance would be a little bit off. We could, oh wait, we can actually do this. Okay, so that's a bit odd. They're both facing the same direction, and that looks like that's gonna fit. So what I'm actually gonna do, so I'm gonna go ahead and screw this thing down just to make sure it does fit. Make sure it does fit the way I think it'll fit. So that way we know for sure before we put goop on there and get the entire thing mounted up. Okay, so it does fit that way. Wow, that's really weird that my eyes are so far off. All right, so this looks like it's gonna go. It looks like it's gonna work. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down all the way. And now we're just gonna make sure this beastie boy fits. So I think that's touching. Pretty sure it's touching the heatsink. Now let's make sure. So I gotta put all my RAM back in. All right, let's see if that fits. Okay, that appears to be working. I really think we can get a fan on here. I'm not really sure why it didn't go on there, but we'll try that a little bit later. Let's go and get this thing gooped up and mounted. Okay, so I think I got the CPU cooler installed correctly. I don't actually know if it's touching the CPU very well. It may barely be touching it. I'm not actually sure. My RAM may be too tall. I guess I could have like plopped it down on the CPU and then pulled it up, but I don't know. I don't feel like that's a really good way to know if it's making good contact because it could just be touching the goop. I don't know, whatever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it pretty much all the way assembled again, and we're gonna run some games and just monitor the temperature to see what happens. If the CPU obviously spikes up in temperature, just even on boot, we'll be able to know very quickly whether or not I have good contact or not. And if I don't have good contact, then I can't use this RAM, and I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I guess I'm gonna go back to the old cooler. So maybe I won't actually put these fans back on there, and I should just do a test boot to see what happens. You know what, we're gonna do that. We're just gonna do a test boot and see what happens, because I'm not gonna assemble this entire thing just to discover that, you know, it has problems right out of the gate. All right, let's boot into Windows and see what happens. So we've reset. That temperature is jumping kind of all over the place. It's kind of scary. All right, so I'm logging into Windows now. 53, 55. That seems kind of high. Not bad, but you know, we're not really doing anything. So let's just start launching some stuff and see what happens. Okay, I've got 3D Mark launched here, and I'm just gonna run a benchmark, just really any benchmark, just to see if I can get that temperature to jump up, and hopefully it stays around 70 degrees Celsius at most. Anything more than that, and I'm just gonna assume that I have bad contact on that on the CPU with the heatsink. Okay, so I think this is looking pretty good actually. We're not seeing spikes like I thought we would. If we didn't have good contact, I'm assuming that we would see spikes all the way up to 70 degrees Celsius by now. And we're just running the demo, so we're not really hitting the CPU too hard. But still, I think it's safe to say that we have good contact. I am gonna let this finish all the way through and just kind of keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. All right, and well, that pretty much wraps up this video. That was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be, and there's some mistakes on my part that, you know, maybe reading the included instructions would have helped with. And by maybe, I mean definitely. So I'm looking forward to it being in there. It actually looks a lot better than I thought it would. I was afraid that the Dark Rock Pro 3 would take up more space. Obviously, I didn't put on the 120mm fan. I could in the future if I decide to. But if I do, I'll probably just use one of the Noctua fans that I have laying around instead. And yeah, I don't know. Not really much to be said. It looks like it's working out pretty well already. It's sitting at 45 degrees Celsius as we speak, or as I speak to you. This video is kind of weird, I know, but it's just kind of like a workshop video, I guess. Just doing something to do something, because I honestly didn't have any videos planned for this week, and it was a last-minute decision to even put a new cooler on my gaming computer, because I didn't really think I needed it, but I kind of wanted it, so I was like, whatever, if you want it, just get it. You can deal with the hassle later. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did, at least personally, not the video, but enjoyed the installation and stuff. It's always really fun for me. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.